Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I made bread for the first time and I thought to document it to show you how it went and also to let you know some mistakes you should avoid while making yours for the first time also. So before I started, I had prepped everything I was going to be using and I had prepped my workstation as well, and I added 2.5 cups of flour into my mixing bowl, after which I proceeded to add other things. Yeah, so I added my sugar, my granulated sugar, I added my salt, then I added my milk. Milk is optional, I don't think it's compulsory. I added my milk, then I added my yeast also. I added my yeast. Alright, so after adding the yeast, I added my nutmeg, but I didn't use those sachet nutmeg. I added this nutmeg seed. I just grated a little bit of it into my dry ingredients because I love the aroma of the fresh nutmeg like that. And I mixed all the dry ingredients together, and I made sure the dry ingredients are well mixed together very well. They are well incorporated together. After which I added some water, just a little bit, just 1 cup of water that I added, and I began to mix it together. Making bread at home without a mixer or a bread maker is somewhat tedious, and it ends up being messy because you have to mix everything together with your hands, and that sticky feeling on your hands is usually not so pleasing at all. So I continue mixing until the wet part and the dry part of the dough are completely mixed together very well. I was having a very hard time mixing that because it kept on sticking onto my fingers. Yeah, and here I'd already mixed everything together. Both the dry and the wet ingredients are mixed together very well. So I cleaned my workstation because I got some flour on my workstation and I cleaned it because hygiene is very very important. So I think the first mistake I made was while I was adding the water to the dry mixture, I was supposed to add the egg. I ought to add the egg, but I missed that step, and I thought it was after I had mixed the flour with water that I was going to add the egg. So after I mixed the egg together with the dough, it was looking very very funny. I'm feeling very funny in my hands also. But then I had to keep going. I wanted to see how it was going to turn out. So another mistake I made again, I added butter, but my butter was from the fridge. It was cold, so that like delayed my dough from rising. I say I had to wear some nylon gloves on my hand just so I could mix properly. But it's still not working. So I would suggest if you want to do this, you may want to use your hand if you don't have any glove available, or if you have those latex black gloves, yes, you make use of those ones. Those ones are very 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 okay to use. After removing the nylon gloves, I was able to mix it well a bit, and it was still looking funny because it was looking funny like I don't know, it was just not giving what I wanted it to give, if you get what I'm trying to say. Then I had to add more butter to see if that was going to change things, and it didn't change things. It didn't change anything. It was still the same thing. It was sticking onto my hand. It was sticking onto the bowl. I was really having an hard time doing all of this. But then I decided to add more flour. So I added more flour eventually, and it was looking a bit okay. So I mixed it. I made sure I mixed everything together properly, and then it was looking a bit okay from the look of things. I scraped the bowl very well, and it was looking like what it should look like. Can you see? So I moved that away and I added some flour on my workstation, and I turned the dough onto my workstation. I turned the dough onto my workstation. For me, I think this was where the main work started because I had to start kneading and all of that. And at the same time, I kept it in mind because I've seen some cases where you over knead bread and then the bread turns out to be tough at the end of the day. So I was just patting it gently. I was pampering. Let me use pampering. I was pampering the dough because I didn't want to over knead the bread and ending up with a tough bread. Nobody wants that. So I needed the bread some more gently, as you can see. I needed it gently. I wasn't putting a lot of pressure on it because I don't want, to happen to the bread. So it's time for me to cut the bread. Yeah, I'm meant to use a scale to measure the bread into equal parts, but I don't have a measuring scale, so I just use my senses to just try to cut them in equal sizes, which I think I did. I think I did a good job at that. So the next thing I did was to oil my or grease my baking pan. I need to grease it so the bread doesn't stick onto the baking pan. I did that and I added my rolled portions of dough inside the baking pan. If this is your first time coming across my page, please do not make it your last by clicking on the subscribe button and also turning on post notifications so as to get notified when next I drop my videos. So after adding the dough into my baking pan, after adding all the dough into my baking pan, the next thing for me to do is to put them down and allow it to rest for some minutes so it could rise. But guess what? My dough didn't rise because I used the cold butter, so it made the whole of the dough cold. It did not rise. So then I checked online for an hack on how to make your bread rise. I boiled water and then I added the baking pan inside it and I brought it out some minutes later and it's already risen. And I greased it with some butter before I placed it into the oven at 200 degrees Celsius and baked for 40 minutes. And after 40 minutes, guys, this is what I ended up with. It looks better than I thought it, like with all the flops I had, with all the mistakes I made. You guys, I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this, and it looks so good. Just look at how fluffy that looks. I enjoyed this with some hot chocolate drink. You guys, would you be trying this out? If you want to try it out, just make sure you don't make those mistakes I made. It looks really, really good. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. Please leave a comment and drop a like for me. Thank you so much. Bye. Until next time.